Hey critters, welcome back to Crafts and Critters with your host Christine. And today I wanted to go over a different tutorial for, like, I don't know, I'm calling them my knitted flowers. And then I put a little embellishment in there. So these are, this one's Christmas. This one's just got like a little pretty little flower in the middle of it. Let me show you a couple others. So this is a poinsettia, and then I did a little gingerbread boy and snowflake and snowman. This one's a little Santa hat. And then I've done some others, so I have some others over here too. So this one's just got some purple beads in the middle. This one's just got like a little pom-pom. And here's another one that has just like a little flower in the middle. And then I did some for Halloween too. So we got eyeball, ghost, and here's a little pumpkin or jack-o'-lantern. So I'm gonna basically now go over how I made one of these. So there will be pauses and breaks in the video because it does take a very long time to do. So what you're gonna need is some yarn, and I found this at Hobby Lobby, and it's got a lot of Christmas colors in it, and it had a metallic in it. So I'm like, oh, that's going to make a very pretty flower, I think. So, and I normally like to stick with the all cotton fabrics or the all cotton yarns. This one, it does happen to be 97% acrylic and 3% metallic polyester. Thanks, Athena. Sorry, we got Athena up here. I'm not sure if you could see her or not. So you're going to need that, and you're going to need a ruler, some scissors, of course, glue sticks and a glue gun. You're going to need an embellishment for the center. In this case, I've picked this, it's like a button. So let's see the back. I got these at, hi Athena, hi, hey kitty kitty. So I got these at Oriental Trading, and they call them snap buttons. And this one has, it's really probably hard to see, but it's got a Christmas penguin in the middle of it. So you're also going to need two felt circles. I've cut these ones out myself. It's almost 2 inches, and you're going to need a pin. And you're going to need a package of these finishing needles. These ones happen to be by Susan Bates. I got these in my craft section over by the Knitting Needles. And I like to use the combination of the 3 smaller sizes, depending on the different type of yarn and how the yarn is pulling. So we're going to get started here, and we're going to see probably a little kitty tail in the picture because she's not leaving. So, let me just, oh, she just kicked the embellishment to the floor. I'll have to get that later. Thanks, Athena. It's a good kitty. All right, so we're going to start, and I like to start at the 10, down by the 10-inch mark. And you're going to leave a little slack. Hey, that's enough. Thank you. All right, and then I just double tie it off, so you're creating a nice knot at the end. It's not going to be seen by the time we're done finishing. It's totally fine. And then get yourself some slack on the yarn. All right, and here's what we're going to do. So I'm left-handed, so my knots always go to my left, but if you're right-handed, you probably want it flipped. So you're going to pull the yarn up and you're going to twist it in your hand, creating a loop, and bring the ruler through the loop, and then pull. So you're going to have like a little knot here at the end. Do not cut this slack off yet. And then you're just going to keep repeating. And just all the way, and we're repeating this pattern all the way up the ruler. I usually stop when I get to the 2-inch mark. So you can see this part will go pretty quickly. This is the easy, well, one of the 2 easy steps. The middle step is the harder one that takes a lot of time. So I'm not going to keep doing this all the way up the ruler here on camera. So I'm going to pause here, and I'm going to go all the way up the ruler. I'm going to show you one more time here. So I'm pulling my hand up, I'm twisting and kind of grabbing it so there's like a little pinch knot, and bringing the ruler through. So then it pulls, and so it's knotted, and then bring it down. So again, loop, pull, bring it down. All right, so I'm going to pause here, and I will be back in a few minutes. Okay, critters, so here we go. So I've got all the string on there. You can see all of our knots, or our twisted parts here. And we're down here at this end here, and this is still attached, and we're going to leave it attached. And you can see it's going to make a we've got a very pretty pattern going on here. I really like this ribbon. So what I do is I wrap this around about till I get about 5, so I can see like 5 of the little at the top here, and then I just kind of come down a little ways and clip off. This should give us enough string here to finish the next 2 steps. So we're going to grab our finishing needles, and I like to use the 3rd one in my pack. And we're going to pull this off here. Now this is not knotted at the end. So when I did the last row, I didn't knot this. So you're just leaving it as is at that end. And I like these because the yarn goes through them very easily here. All right, so you're just gonna put your needle in, and then you're gonna come in with your needle, and right between each line of the yarn, you're gonna come in with your needle. You're gonna go in, kind of pull your yarn over the needle, and then pull it all through. And yes, it's gonna be a lot. Make sure that you're not over like this. So you're going to have all of your string on the one side of the ruler. And you want to make sure it doesn't knot up along the way or twist. So we'll just pull it through. And you're going to keep doing that all the way down. So I just go in between. So here's in between these 2 reds. I poke my needle and I go over it, so you're creating a knot. So again, I call this knitted, but I don't know if this is actually a knitting or not. I've never really done it before, but it seems like it's done in a very similar kind of fashion. We're creating knots, or we're creating loops. We're going through them. So if this is not knitting, then somebody can correct me in the comments and let me know. And then again, I'm going to do this in between each one. Do not miss one. If you miss one, then that part is going to come unraveled from when we take it off the ruler. So you want to really, and you can push it kind of open a little bit like this and create a gap if you need to. you know, sometimes that very much helps. And then you're basically going right under it and then creating a nice little another knot. And I'm going to do this all the way down to the ruler. So when I get down to the end, I will come back and I will show you the next step. So I'm going to do a check-in here. So I'm about almost halfway, and this starts happening right here when I'm doing this. Oops. And then what I usually do when that starts happening is I just put my thumb kind of through here, and then I kind of pull. And sometimes you got to pull back. And then this just helps guide the loop where I want it from twisting. And then what I'll do is if it's twisting really bad, I'll run all the way down the string and just kind of like straighten it out. Just go all the way down, just kind of straightening it out a little bit, and then bring it back in and continue that. And that kind of helps with that twisting effect that starts to happen as you get further along in the process of making this. So I'll be back here when I get to the very end, and yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm down to my last few. Before I finish these few, I wanted to go over this too. If you pull too hard when you're doing your loop here, you're going to wind up with it looking kind of like this. It doesn't make it impossible, but it does make that section a little challenging to get through the next one. And if you don't pull enough, you wind up with loops like this. Again, it doesn't make this like, you know, this still is pretty salvageable. We can, you know, work with this. So I am going to do, I got 2 left here. And I also want to reemphasize, make sure you don't miss any going in between any of your little loops here that are, and these are the loops that I'm referring to. That's the flower part that it's going to turn into. So here's the last one. All right, so now you're going to tie this end off. And I knot twice. And then this excess that you had when you first started, that's the part can be cut off now. And all right, now you're left with still some string, and we're going to go through the next part. But before I start that part, I'm going to change my needle to one of the smaller ones, just because it's going to be easier to get through it. And I'm going to actually go with my little yellow one. It goes through really smoothly, and it can get some of these tighter areas like I showed where I pulled a little too hard on the knot. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I try to bring this up here. So you're going to go through the loops. So I'm literally going through, and I can go through quite a few at a time. So you're actually going through the loop. Oops, that keeps getting twisted here on me. And then you're going to pull through. And as you pull, you're going to pull enough to tighten it. And you're going to do that all the way down. So here's where we left off. Here we go. And I'm just grabbing as many loop. Like I grab like 3 or 4 or 5 at a time, and I pull through. So pull that through, and you're just going to bring it down and tighten. Don't pull too hard or you will break the yarn. But you want to pull it tight enough where it's going to start kind of gathering all this in very tight, instead of like white, a little spread apart like it is on the other part of the ruler. So let me go through the next part. And I'm trying to do this as close to the camera as possible so that you can see. And then just bring it down and you're tightening. And you want to push this side down at the same time, because you're going to wind up with like little gaps where you haven't been. And you're going to see it start like kind of spreading apart like this. It's totally fine. So I hope that you can getting a good view on this. All right, so I am going to pause here. I'm going to finish this till I get to the end, and then I will be back. All right. Okay. All right, so I'm all the way down the ruler, and then for the end, all I do is basically, you know, bring it through and knot it at the end. And this is how I just close off each one. All these knots and everything, you're not actually going to see them when it comes to the final product, which is sad because you're not seeing all of the work that goes into it. I mean, what you're seeing in this video, which is, I'm not sure how long it's going to be once I get all this, once I get done the editing. But what you see is just a small fraction of the work that it takes to go into this, and it takes me well over an hour. So all I'm doing is running my hand down the yarn and getting a firm grip on the ruler and just kind of pushing it down. And I'm not gonna lie, this part of getting it off the ruler, it does take a little bit of work, and you can see it's starting to come off. And usually when I get it about halfway, it just like slides off the rest of the way. So so we're going to start with the end that was down by the 10. As you can see, that kind of wants to be the one that curls inward to the center. And I do this kind of with it flipped upside down. So, because I want to see all of this part here. So, and we are just curling it around itself. And it does take some maneuvering. Oops. Sorry, I got a little twisted there. Okay. So, here we go. So you're just kind of twisting it around, getting all of the handy work that you did, kind of wrapping around each other to get where we need to be. And once you have this formed, it's kind of pretty easy, and some of it comes together a little bit, like my all cotton yarns come together a little bit better than this does. All right, we are there. All right, so I'm just going to put it down on my board here, and this is where I usually flatten out the back and make sure it's kind of all where I want it flat. And then I flip it over to at this point, and I want to make sure that it looks good from the front too, and that it's pretty flattened out. And I have my glue gun heated, and I don't know what, we had Athena knock that embellishment down, and I have yet to find it. She knocked it to the floor and I've yet to find it. So I'm going to pause the video here and I'm going to have to get another one. Okay, all right. So I have our new embellishment, but before we do that, we're flipping it over to the back. I always put the embellishment on last. And we're going to do our felt. So for the felt, I take one of my 2 squares. I line up where I'm going to be putting the clip through and just do a little snip at either end of where I'm going to push this through. All right. So at that point, then I hold here at the bottom. And I put a generous amount of glue. And I take the other felt and I place it, and then I just kind of gently press together. Make sure you don't squeeze your glue out. And I start usually in the middle to make sure I'm getting that clip in place. And if you want to, you can kind of do this as your first step before you even start making it, so that you can allow it time to like dry. If you prefer it that way. All right, so after that, I go around in the flower itself, and I start on the outside and put some towards the middle, and I put a generous amount, and then I press this in. And of course I'm pulling up glue. It's fine. Make sure you pull any of your loose webbing from the glue, and then I flip it over. And be careful because you've got wet glue on the back. All right, and then we're gonna do our embellishment. So I like to put my glue right on it and then put the embellishment on. Make sure you got where your pin is and how your pin is going to face, and make sure you got your embellishment going on in the correct way too. And there we are. That is so cute. This one is for my daughter. She saw the little penguin come in last night with my order and wanted one. So there's the back, and you don't see it when you don't see the backing. So yeah, the backing is very huge, but it also helps to keep the shape, which is why I go with 2 inches. You could go with 1.5. You can't do a 1 inch. The 1 inch circles are very, here, I'll show you the 1 inch circle. It's just way too small. Here's your 1 inch circle. That's way too small. You could go with a 1.5, but so it'll be like here, but you won't get, you'll have to really make sure that you've got glue really attached to it. So let me just press that in. Oh, that looks much better. So I got the embellishment pressed in a little bit, and it flowers out a little bit and poofs up. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And I do sell these on my marketplace account on Facebook, so I will put a link. I've not shipped anywhere yet. I just started selling these, so just contact me, and if you want one, I can work it out, and I'll figure out the shipping in that, and yeah, I'll have to figure it out. But there you go. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed. Share, link, share it, and we'll see you in the next one.